Hey, so if you want to know what key a song is in, maybe you want to solo over it, maybe you've written a chord sequence and you want to write a melody for it, this is the video for you. After you've watched this video, you will, with 100% certainty, be able to say it's in that key. A lot of people make the assumption that if the first chord in the song is a D major, then the song must be in the key of D major. This is actually surprisingly accurate. It's definitely more than 50% of the time that is the right answer, but it isn't 100%. Hopefully, if you make that assumption and you're wrong, when you start soloing or when you start writing melodies, your ears will tell you, there's something funny going on there. But then you might be here because your ears are telling you it's wrong and you're not sure whether to trust your ears. So, the second method, which is a little bit more reliable but still not 100%, is to try to figure out which chord feels like it's home. Feels like you've landed when you play it. Like this. When I wake up, you know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. Home, E. Now hopefully, again, if you work it out wrongly, your ears will tell you there's something funny going on there. But if they don't, or if you want to be 100% certain, you need to go to the circle of fifths. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the circle of fifths. It's a very, very popular and very, very well-known musical tool. Don't be alarmed by its complexity. You don't need to learn how to draw the blooming thing. You can get it off of the internet in seconds. In fact, you could take a screenshot of this now, quick, now. First of all, this won't take long. Let me just quickly explain how this thing works. Okay, right at the very top, we have the key of C major. This is a key that on a piano only uses white coloured keys. It uses C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then it lands on C again. It doesn't have any sharps or flats in it. Okay? Now, there is one other scale that doesn't have any sharps or flats in it, and that's the scale of A minor. That's the scale you get if you use exactly the same notes as C major, but you start on the 6th note in the scale, which in this case is A. Now, because those two scales use the same notes, we say that they're related to each other. So you can say that A minor is the relative minor of C major, okay? To the right, we have a key that has got one sharp in it, the F sharp. All the other notes are still naturals. Okay, but the F, you don't play F, you play F sharp instead. So if your song uses A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G, then it's going to be in G major or E minor. It can't actually be in any other key, believe it or not. And then we get to the next key, which is exactly the same. It's now got a C sharp as well. And so on around the circle. So what happens if we go to the left instead? Let's come back up to the top again, go one to the left. Here we have a B flat. So let's say you've got all the letters in the musical alphabet. You've got an A, a C, a D, an E, an F, a G, but you haven't got a B, you've got a B flat instead. Then you must be in either F major or D minor. And so on around the flat side of the circle. Now the only problem comes really at this point is if you only think in sharps. For some reason guitarists do this. It's really funny. If you think you've got an A sharp, bear in mind it can also be called B flat. It's the same note, okay? Now notice with all of these examples, two things. You've got one of each musical letter, and you've only got sharps or you've got flats. You've never got a D flat and a D sharp for two reasons, for both those reasons. You need to try and respell, we call it, each sharp or flat so that they are all sharps or they are all flats, and you've got one of each letter. And it should just slot into place. It's like Sudoku, okay? So the only way that's going to give you 100% certainty of what key you're in is to get the chord chart of the song and write out all the letters that are in each chord. If you're not 100% sure, look it up on the internet. It's really easy to find. Then, once you've got all the letters written out, you try and fit it into the circle of fifths somewhere. So let's come back to 500 miles quickly, just to show you this in action. You've only got 3 chords in the song, E, A, and B, all majors. Here are the letters, write them out in alphabetical order, and you can see that you've got one of each letter. You can see that you've got all sharps, no flats at all, and there are 4 of them. There's an F, a C, a G, and a D. So that has to fit down here on the circle of fifths. It's the only place it can possibly be. Okay? It can't be the one before because that's got a D natural in it, not a D sharp, and 500 miles has got a D sharp in it. It can't be the one after either because the one after has to have an A sharp in it and we've got an A natural. So it must be one of these two keys. It's either E major or it's C sharp minor. Now look at the chord chart again. Can you see a C sharp minor in that song? No, you can't. You can see an E major, so it's in E major. So far so good, hopefully that's made perfect sense. But what if a couple of notes are missing? Well, you have to do a little bit of detective work. You can have a listen to the melody, work that out, and sometimes that will fill in a couple of missing notes. Similarly with the bass line or any other parts that are being played in the song, have a listen, see if you can figure out even one or two of the notes. Also, try and find the best fit in the circle of fifths. So for example, just imagine a really weird song that's only really got 3 or 4 notes in it. One of them is C, not C sharp, C, and another one of them is F sharp. Well, that can only fit in here. That's got surely to be G major. It can't be D major because that has to have a C sharp in it. And it can't be C major because that cannot have an F sharp in it. If you've got an F sharp and a C natural, it must be in the key of G, or its relative minor. Now this isn't a perfect example, but it will illustrate the point. The first half of the verse in the Deftones song Kim Dracula, it just sits on an F sharp minor for a while. Now the fact that it does that implies very strongly that it's in the key of F sharp minor, but imagine that you missed that big hint. Now F sharp minor as a chord, F sharp, A and C sharp gives you those 3 notes. The melody adds these 2 notes in. So just that little bit takes you from just knowing 3 notes to knowing 5. So if you put that in your circle of fifths, you can see it very strongly helps us figure out that we're in this key. Now, I reckon the home method will get you working out 90% of the songs you hear. That method with the circle of fifths should get you to 99%. There's a little sneaky 1% of songs that won't work for. If in the unlikely event that the song you're trying to analyse is in the 1% of songs that method hasn't worked for, you need my next video and I'll see you there. It should pop up any second. Where will it be? Maybe it would kind of be here, maybe I don't know.